And we're live.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, Mom and Dad. All right, so
Hi, random guy in the Philippines.
if you're just joining us, I'm in Los Angeles and Sean's in Boston.
That's right, we're bi-coastal.
We did this purposely so we could have a wider perspective for the podcast. What are we talking about? I have no idea.
I thought we were going to talk about nostalgia.
Right. Remember when we didn't have a podcast?
I miss those days.
That was last week.
It was good times.
Well, that's actually a good topic because in the news right now, Cosby, which was a huge part of my childhood, is going to jail.
Yeah, I mean, I think you can effectively say that no one's going to be nostalgic for Cosby.
I don't know, man. As even though he's probably definitely guilty, it's like it's kind of sad. It's like part of your. I think that's a sad thing about things that are an indelible part of your childhood when they start to fade away. It's kind of sad.
Right, I mean, that's, well, let's define nostalgia for people who don't know what it means.
I don't know what it means.
Uh, it's sentimentality for the past. The definition is basically a longing or affection for the past, typically for a period or place with happy associations. So I think with Cosby, that was like NBC Thursday, 8 p.m., first thing to watch right after dinner. And it was like, it was so funny. And it's like you're watching a family, your own family. And with all these uh, what is it, reboots and everything going on, and Return to the Past, Cosby Show is something no one will return to.
I just read that. I guess Bounce TV was like the last network to have Cosby reruns, and they axed it. So there'll be no more Cosby shows on cable.
Yeah, uh, I think they should digitally edit it so they put in Denzel Washington instead of Cosby, and then you can still watch it.
Well, I'd watch it for Adam Sandler because he was Theo's friend.
And what was his name?
I don't know. Do you know?
Cockroach.
I was gonna say Cockroach, but I thought that was the black kid who was Theo's who was
Yeah, but
Rudy's friend.
no, it was Theo's other friend.
Oh, that was Cockroach. What a horrible name for a sitcom character, Cockroach.
The other sitcom character was from Growing Pains, and he was called Boner.
Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. What Adam Sandler's name is? You keep talking about Cockroach.
Well, that's what I'm looking it up too.
What do you have?
The show where we look at good. Smitty. He played Smitty.
Oh yeah, Smitty. I didn't even know that. That doesn't even ring any bells for me. So, are you for this, I guess, return to nostalgia and 80s movies that are revamped for today's generation, or are you against it?
The only way it works is that if you add something new to it. I always take it back to songs where there's something called either a remix or um, just a cover, And if you can make the original something different and something your own, then a reboot can be cool. For example, for TV shows, they took the movie Fargo and made it into a TV show, but
Mm.
they repackaged it with completely different characters, same themes, but it was just it's an amazing TV show.
You watch it on Netflix?
Yeah, yeah. There's 3 seasons, and they're all just amazing, and they have nothing to do with the original movie, except for the place, the act Fargo, Minnesota.
I felt the same way about Fuller House. Just
Did you watch Fuller
no,
House?
I never watched it. I watched Full House
Right.
when
I
I
mean,
was a kid.
that's the thing. I don't think they changed anything about Fuller House.
The
They
same
said,
characters,
okay, we'll just have the same characters, but they're older.
the same dogs in it.
The dog's still there.
What's his name? Let's Google it. Let's pause for 10 minutes and Google the dog's name.
Comet.
Who was named Comet?
Yeah.
Good job.
But, and now, one of the latest Hollywood news is that they're remaking the cartoon Mask.
Oh, I'm excited for that actually.
Yeah, I mean,
I used to have all the toys,
exactly. Yeah,
and I watched the cartoon.
they were all about the toys.
It's probably why they're making the movies so they can sell more toys.
Probably, yeah,
Produced by Hasbro.
yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, the weird thing is in the '80s, these creators were given a weird task of, hey, we've got these toys to sell. You've got to make characters and storylines that are compelling to kids, so they'll watch it and then buy the toys. I think they did an amazing job with like Transformers, GI Joe.
Well, it's also a different time back then because I feel like toys. I mean, toys are always popular, but there's now like this diffusion with like iPads and all electronic stuff. There were always video games, but like toys had this. I just watched this interview with that's what I do in my free time. Evil Knievel, that guy,
Wow.
and he said that he made $20 million off his merchandising and toys. He was like the jumps were whatever. Like he didn't make anything. I mean, he made whatever off those jumps, but it was the actual like motorcycles and like race cars and whatever the motorbikes. Like that's where he made the most money because he was like a name brand that they could monetize.
Right, right, yeah. That's crazy.
Why that he jumped off. You gotta watch. Have you seen those old videos? Him like jumping over like the Grand Canyon and stuff. He ties himself to like a rocket ship and like shoots himself over the Grand Canyon.
I remember his comedic counterpart, Super Dave Osborne.
All right.
I was more into Super Dave.
He also made $20 million off his merchandising.
I don't think so.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It was great. Like Super Dave was this basically like a Mr. Fantastic rubber doll type of character where like he'd do a stunt and then his body would be like all crushed up, but he'd still be okay.
Is that from Letterman? I don't know where. I just remember him as a personality. I never. So he actually did stunts.
Well, no. He was making fun of.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, but like his stunts would always go wrong.
I gotta start YouTube some of that stuff.
Yeah, it's classic. And that's another thing about nostalgia, especially now. It's like it's so easy to go back because it's all online.
Yeah.
Like if you were an adult in the '80s, you didn't look back too much, and maybe in your memories, like you think about the '60s or '70s, but there was no easy way to access that. You'd maybe have like an old film reel or something. But now you can go back to 1984, watch the entire cartoon lineup because it's right there. And
I've done that, by the way.
I'm sure you're not the only one.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I
So
think that's why. Go
do,
ahead.
do you think that's a good thing to be able to have access to nostalgia?
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean,
Well,
I think it's another conversation about uh, how much is too much, but to be able to, I mean, it used to drive me crazy. Some of these sites, like, well, I used to wonder, like, what was that old thing I used to watch back in the day, or
right,
that guy, and then now you can just find it by just googling certain words, and a video will pop up.
right, and yeah, I mean, it's easy to live in the past. I don't know. I don't know if it's living in the past or just maybe just appreciating the things in your past more often.
Mm, yeah, I don't know if I
Well,
live in the past.
one of the
Maybe I do live in the past.
I think two of us are much more fond of our early teens
Well, I think
than we.
everybody is. I mean, you make the argument, I guess. That's why all these superhero movies are now doing it's killing the box office because people grew up with those characters, and now it's kind of turned into this cool thing. But it started as a nostalgia for Spider-Man
Yeah,
and X-Men and all that stuff that we grew up with, and now it's part of the norm where now everyone likes those guys
right, right.
and girls.
No, girls still like Barbie and Easy Bake.
I think there's a Gem movie, by the way.
Yeah, there is.
It didn't do well, but
Um, I don't know if you want to. We'll briefly talk about this subject because for the first time I watched this documentary that everyone's been talking about. Uh, you know, they sometimes they say nostalgia is bad because it reminds you that things were always good, even though that's how you remember it. And for me, there's a debate now about a beloved cartoon character who thinks everybody thinks now is bad, even though he was fine 25 years ago. Uh, I still think there's nothing wrong with him. I watched the documentary about this character.
Griff
Uh,
the dog.
yes,
That one. He solves murders.
it's up to you if you want to. If you
No,
want
I don't know what you're talking about, honestly.
cartoon character documentary Indian.
Oh, a poo.
Yeah,
And whatever. I don't even care to be honest. I
no,
mean,
just because
did you watch the documentary? I don't
I,
watch it.
I
I
watched
always
it.
saw
I
clips of
watched
it.
it today because I got into a online argument with somebody, and they're like, "Did you even watch the documentary?" And to be honest, I didn't. So
I haven't watched it, and I openly admit it.
right,
I have seen
and
I've seen bits of it though.
right, and the problem with the documentary is, like with a lot of documentaries, it's one sided. It presents your point of view. It has supporters of that point of view. Uh, to be fair, the documentarian did include a Simpsons writer who had an opposing point of view, which I agree with. Uh, yeah, so it's this is one case of nostalgia not being right, or someone not accepting nostalgia, and for social justice reasons, I guess. But in my personal opinion, it is only an opinion, and is an opinion shared by a small group.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm just desensitized to this stuff. Even like when I made that video, I was more pissed off that they took down a franchise versus them being
You
pissed
mean
off.
the
Like I don't
video
really
of you
care.
defending the
Yeah, I was more irritated that they attacked the Simpsons, which as opposed to like I don't understand why. I guess I guess just in comedy, I've seen it all, and I just nothing really bothers me. Like even stuff that I know is insensitive doesn't really bother me. I don't know why. I just have this. Maybe I'm dead in the inside. I'm not really sure.
there
But
something someone could say to you that would bother you?
uh, I mean, I guess if you said I was going to kill my parents or something like, and you meant it, but like,
No,
I've heard it. I've heard it. I've heard
right.
everything. I mean, mm, yeah, even like when I'm on stage, I've gotten heckled, and I'm like, it just goes right through me. I'm more worried about the show itself versus being personally affronted by the
Mhm.
remark. So that's why like I don't understand that documentary because I feel like Akari is a comedian, so it doesn't make any sense to me.
Right, right. And the way they presented it in the documentary was that the Simpsons were Goliath and he was Samson.
That's kind of bullshit though because nowadays anybody can flip that. I mean, anybody has a voice if you have enough people behind you. So
Right, and I think that's I think he kind of accomplished that actually.
hey, you know what? It's good for his career because I don't know if he did it for his career or not, but like it got his attention. And I remember Hassan Minaj was on the Daily Show would make these videos and he would just like go off about racism, whatever. And that guy's good at what he does. I'm not insulting Hassan Minaj, but I mean that's his brand, and got him on the Daily Show, which is the perfect fit for him. So maybe that's what. Maybe this will push Hari in that direction and make him like a political guy, making outspoken videos. I don't know. I mean, there's no rules in comedy, but if that's his genuine voice, good for him.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything in the past that you used to like that you're now like, why did I like that?
In the past, yeah, sure. Well, I think, I think everything I watched as a kid, I'm like, man, was I retarded? I should have been like reading books or learning languages or something. But I think as a kid, you just gravitate towards things that you resonate with, and I really like the fantasy aspect of cartoons. Like it was just cool. Like remember I was talking about The Mask or like Bionic Six or even like Spider Man, His Amazing Friends. Like there was like this cool little world which like the writers and animators created for kids, and it gets you sucked in because kids really have nothing. It's like we're shitty lives of going to school, doing your education, and you come home, and if you're athletic, great, you play sports. But then it was a great escape as a kid, uh, for me,
Mm-hmm.
anyways, which kind of sucked me in. Why did you watch it?
Um, yeah, I was a nerdy kid, and same thing. I love the fantasy aspect. Uh, I think maybe because I wasn't good at sports, so it was like after school, kids would play sports, and I would watch like cartoons, Robotech, and all these stupid things.
There's also no judgment either as a kid. Like you can do whatever you want, and I mean nobody's telling you, hey, that's not cool. Because I
Oh
think
no,
all
I had many
kids,
people telling me I wasn't cool.
really, kids would say
Well,
that.
I was definitely in the nerd category.
I feel like pretty much all kids like watch cartoons growing up.
Uh, no, like I
Um,
can tell you, I have a nephew right now who's very oriented. He doesn't watch like any of those cartoons. Like if I showed him
yeah.
something I was interested in, he'd be like, "This is stupid. I'm gonna play football."
Does he like all this YouTube stuff? Like, does he follow like YouTube follower creators and
Yeah, yeah.
Smosh and all those guys? Because I feel like maybe it's like a
The
generational thing.
guys he likes to follow the commentators who comment on sports and sports video games and things like that.
Yeah. So my point is like it's different for every generation. For us, maybe it was that, and for this today's generation, I feel like it's these internet personalities or whatever. It's just there were different escapes, and there's more to choose from.
Right, right. But I'm saying, I think we represent the, the minority of kids who, like you said, enjoy fantasies and stories and things like that. There's definitely the other group of kids who are outside playing soccer and football and baseball until 8 p.m. at night, and they'd be like, you know, you watch GI Joe? This is so dumb.
I thought GI Joe. I still think GI Joe is cool.
Well, that's why you're still a nerd.
Yeah, I don't know, man, because I don't know, because I remember I was on the tennis team. I played a lot of tennis as a kid, and I remember talking to kids about I don't know. I just feel like as a kid, and answer your question about stuff um, that I didn't like watching back then, or that I regret watching. Uh, mm, I don't know. It's kind of shit. I think as I grew older, it changed because it went from that to like Conan O'Brien to like comedy to SNL, as we covered before. Like it just kept evolving the different and all that. It all related back to television for some reason for me. It always
Yeah, right,
just circled
right.
that.
Um, but what about books? Were you into books?
It's it's funny. Like I read a little bit, but I'm way more in the books now than I was in because whenever I always had to read for school, so anytime I had to do it, it just didn't become fun for me.
Right.
But I did like writing a lot. I'd love to write, but I didn't like. It's weird because like my older brother and stuff loved Stephen King and
Mm-hmm.
all those guys. Um, did you read?
Yeah, I was a huge reader. Starting with like the Hardy Boys, and then graduating to like Stephen King and all the Dark Tower series, and my mom used to be upset with like I'd always bring a book with me and never talk to people, and people be like, "Oh, he's so smart." Little do they know. But no, like you said, uh, somehow television was more of a uh, distractor for me as well.
I just found it easier. I remember actually. I remember one time I was like, I think I told you this story. I was like 12 or something, and I didn't do my homework the night before, and I just I'll wake up and do it in the morning, and instead I watched like Bionic Six, like eight
Mm-hmm.
o'clock in the morning, and like I didn't do that. I was like, my God, I was like retarded, dude.
The word is mentally challenged.
Yeah, but do you read today? Do you still read books?
I'm so bad now. I don't read books. It's crazy. It's insane. Uh, you know, just the career path I went through, I had to do a lot of reading for work, and it was like, all right, that's enough. I don't have to read anything else. I just want to watch TV. But I need to get back to
Hmm.
reading for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I appreciate, and that's why I like. I mean, we're talking nostalgia. Like it. Did you
Yeah,
see the movie It?
yeah.
Did you read the book? How do you feel like it translated?
Uh, Pretty good. Pretty good. Actually, I mean, the book is much more descriptive and gross. Uh, they couldn't cover all that in a 2 hour movie. Uh, but so yeah, we'll loop it back around to nostalgia. They actually made a It TV movie in 1991.
Remember that?
I
Hmm.
watched that, so I must have been like 11 or 12, and yeah, that scared the hell out of me. And this reboot, I don't think was as scary to me. I don't know if I'm still carrying over the feelings I had when I watched it the first time as a kid, or I just didn't identify with this reboot. Because a lot of people said online that they think the TV movie series is lame and kind of corny and everything. But to me, and again, maybe it's because I was 11 and 12, I thought it was frightening and everything the book was. So yeah, it's the rose-colored glasses, maybe.
Yeah, and just from working on the television side, I never really understood the because I always thought like, oh, why wouldn't people want a new, fresh idea? But when I was working as like a development executive, I would always see, you know what it is, man? It's like this brand awareness that's already built in to the public awareness, right? The public knows about these characters and storylines. That alone is huge because marketing, I mean, they spend millions of dollars, marketers, to like just for people to understand what the idea is. And when you bring back an old idea, people already know what it is. So like half the battle is already there, and now it's a matter of just getting them to watch it. So I now I now get it why they keep rebooting Roseanne, Murphy Brown, all these. It's like Jesus Christ, enough already. But you know, it's IP they already own, intellectual property. Like some of these networks, they already have it, right? They have access to the writers. Some of these guys haven't worked in like 20 years, so they can probably get them at a low price. And if it connects, it's money. And it's probably why they keep using these same movie stars again and again because the public knows about them. Like Tom Cruise or whatever the hell. You know what I'm saying? It's just like this. It's so cyclical again and again and again.
Yeah, I think, and what happens too is when the older generation who first who had the first experience with something, when they find out it's being remade, they generate excitement, and then that excitement goes towards the younger viewers who never heard of it in the first place, and then they want to know more about it, and yeah, that's where they get the
Well, it's hit or miss. Remember when they rebooted Knight Rider, NBC?
yeah.
Like that is, I mean, because it's like nobody wants to see that show. It's like it's really, but like Roseanne, it's a huge thing because people can still identify with a Midwestern conservative family, whatever the hell. But I guess a talking car and a guy in a leather jacket is
Yeah,
out of date.
yeah. But yeah, I think, like I said, sometimes when you take the original, you have to change it up. Uh, like if they done Knight Rider with maybe like a hot girl instead of, and she drove, you know, Toyota Nissan.
She drives a Prius,
Yeah,
a talking
exactly.
Prius.
Yeah, that might have.
She doesn't solve crimes. She just drives around LA and takes
Yeah,
Instagram photos.
exactly. Yeah. The cartels are the best place to take Instagram.
That's all it is for an hour.
See, you could sell something like that. Is there something you'd like to see like remade, reboot that hasn't?
Um, Something I'd like to see rebooted. No, I appreciate new ideas. Like what I got really excited about, and I actually watched it was the. I still love reading those Roald Dahl books, and when they made the BFG, I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool. And I watched that movie, and it was actually kind of cool. I was like, oh my god, this is really cool to see this book, and these giants, and Spielberg thing directed it. But I appreciate new ideas, like just totally innovative, like something where I'm like, oh my god, I wish I thought of that. Like, just
Mhm.
that's cool to me. I actually don't understand why there's such emphasis on to bring back old stuff when there's so many great new ideas that could be explored, and I love yeah, that that show Blup. What is it, Black
Mhm.
Mirror?
Mhm.
Like I love that show because there was no set characters. I only saw a few episodes. What am I talking about? I love that show. But when I watched that first episode of season 4, whatever, when the guy's like in the Star
Mhm.
Trek spaceship, I was like, this is amazing. This because everything's new. Like the whole storyline's new. Like I was into that. So I appreciate um, when something starts from
Right. Right.
scratch.
So you wouldn't like to see a live action version of Bionic Six?
No, maybe revamp Ernest Goes to Jail. I'd watch that.
3D IMAX.
Yeah. Why? What would you want to see?
Let's see. Uh, you know what? There was a good show that was like the first Stranger Things. It was called Erie, Indiana. I think you yeah,
I remember
yeah.
that. I remember that.
That definitely has to be rebooted. Oh my god, like that would everyone would watch that show.
What was it about?
This
For the
kid this
people
kid
listening.
moves from like Chicago to this place called Erie, Indiana, and everything about it is weird. So it's like it was made for kids, but it was like you would have these twins who didn't age. Like they were 15 years old for the past 30 years because their mother kept them in a Tupperware thing to keep them preserved. And then there'd be like Elvis sightings, but it's actually Elvis, and dogs who are trying to take over the neighborhood because they were super smart.
I gotta rewatch
Yeah,
that
no, it
show.
was fantastic. And if it was rebooted for today, it would, I would be surprised if it wasn't a hit.
I think wasn't it you were telling me the reason why a lot of this stuff gets greenlit is because people we grew up with are now like executives who have the power to make these
Right.
decisions. So they're like, hey, this is great.
Well, and you could tell that it's like the first sign is that is when you see advertisements and they start using songs from the time you were young, like in the 90s. Yeah. Like
Right.
before, you would hear songs from the 70s and 80s, and that was supposed to appeal the baby boomers. And now you're hearing like Radiohead in a commercial. You're like, what? How can they do that? It's like, oh yeah, because now the ad exec is my age.
Mm. Yeah, I guess. I mean, this is definitely gonna outlive us. I think it's gonna be this constant rebooting of nostalgia for the next 20, 30 years. There's no stop to it, especially because everything's making so much money, man. From movies, TV, it's just
Right.
endless. There's no end to it.
I think there has to be some kind of end. There's too much shit on TV.
I mean, do you watch? I seriously don't even watch TV like I
No,
used
I
to.
still I
Like,
try to keep up. Um, there's a show called Legion about the this character from the X-Men universe. I've been keep trying to watch it. It's like there's no time.
yeah, I've it's too much. I mean, sometimes I'll watch stuff on YouTube. I think internet's, and maybe that's why YouTube's so appealing to me because you can watch stuff like bite size and just kind of watch like a 3 4 minute clip of it and be like, all right, I watched all the good
Right.
parts in 4 minutes, and then on to the next.
And these
Versus
are things that are old, right? Not like current.
even current stuff. Sometimes I'll watch like even what was that show, Game of Thrones. You can find like a lot of great scenes.
Oh,
Not
so
that
you watch the
I know everything
scenes.
about. Yeah, you like like the fight scenes, whatever, like effects. Um, so basically, I'm a terrible TV executive because even when I was on that side, I would only watch like the pilot. I was like, who the hell? I think Seinfeld even said this on a sitcom. He was like, and Seth MacFarlane in it, or I'm sorry, not Seth MacFarlane. Uh, yeah, is it what Seth Meyers? He goes, "What's your show?" And Seinfeld's like, "I don't have a show." He goes, "Who has time to watch a show?" And I was like, I kind of agree with him. I was like, God, there's no
Mhm.
time considering like all the stuff I want to do in life. Like, so it's like, but I do want to appreciate it. So I'll just go on YouTube and just type it in, and then I'll call you and talk about it.
Right. But so you're saying there's lots of money in these reboots and everything, and yeah, I think that's killing. Do you think that's killing new material? Because
Totally,
the meme
definitely.
now that's going around is that Netflix offers 10,000 movies from all different eras and ages, and people watch the same 4 seasons of The Office over and over again. You know,
Oh, really? I wouldn't be. I watched
right?
Frasier.
Exactly, or Frasier or Seinfeld. You know, so that's the thing. It's like it, it can be bad. I'm not exposing myself to new ideas and new things because it's just safer for my mind to process something I've already processed.
Yeah, well, just in terms of new material, there's a whole like business thing to it because it's not just about the idea, but like it's as we've talked about privately, it's also about like who's attached to it. Have these guys done stuff? Maybe it's a viral sensation. There's so many X factors of why things get greenlit. So I mean, to get any new idea on, even if it's a brilliant idea, it's hard to get that going unless you've got some momentum behind it. Not saying don't write new things. It's a bit trickier, especially because you know there's a whole, and then once it does get greenlit, the executives they're always being replaced or quitting, and then you gotta find an audience for it. So I mean, you gotta jump through a lot of hoops. So that's why I always love writers who just or creators who they're really pure and make stuff that resonates with them, and for some reason or another, it just gets through all the firewalls and it becomes a huge hit. Like I love
Right,
those
right.
stories.
Yeah. Um, yeah, like I said, one of the examples is yeah, freak. Nah, I just lost the train of thought.
What Stranger
Yeah,
Things?
well, that's an amazing example of creators making something new, but out of the garments of nostalgia.
Yeah, I don't know what's the backstory in the Duffer Brothers. They came off another show, right?
They've written a script. I think it was made into a movie, and then kind of different TV pilots. But somehow, and then they wrote for Stranger Things, and they were shopping it around everywhere. They took it to networks, HBO, Amazon, and Netflix decided to roll with it.
Yeah,
And a lot of it is about the idea of kids getting into an adventure, which is a typical 80s type of trope, cliche, from Goonies to Monster Squad. You remember that movie?
I did. Did you watch every season of
Yeah,
Stranger Things? How was it? How did it hold up? I only watched the
yeah,
first
it's
season.
great. And a lot of it has to do, I think, with the casting, the kids. Yeah,
Oh, those kids. Do you think they're going to have longevity after
they'll all
Stranger
have
Things?
cocaine problems. No,
Mm.
definitely Millie Bobby Brown.
Wait, what do you mean, Bobby Brown?
Millie Bobby Brown.
Oh, I thought I saw that kid, one of the kids on an airplane,
Yeah,
and he had like a little
right.
entourage. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm. That's cool. It's always nice to see. I do love the fact when shows do well, and it's kind of cool to see like, oh, Game of Thrones, Sopranos, Stranger Things. That's kind of always exciting to me to see like the next hit show when it comes out,
Mhm.
breakthrough, and then it almost becomes like permeates everything, and then you're like sick of it. You're like, all right, enough of these kids.
Right, right.
Is there another show you think that's going to break out?
That's going to break out. Um,
Mask. Mask is a movie though, right?
yeah. Uh,
Do you see any end to this Avengers stuff?
I don't. Just because as long as they got this IP property, like you said, the guy in charge of it has just done a phenomenal job. And like,
Who's in charge
Kevin
of it?
Feige.
Who is that? I have
He's
no idea.
jeez. Where have you been? No, he's the guy.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Jesus, you got to read up on him. He's the one who started the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe. He started with Iron Man, and just kept it up with Captain America, Thor, Guardians, Black Panther. It was
So is he head of Marvel, or is he like part
he's
of a
the head
studio?
producer for Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Okay.
and because of his vision and being able to pick the directors, work with the directors, and then work with the right actors and personalities, it's because of him that where where we are in terms of superhero cinema. It's
So is he a film and TV guy, or is he like
he's a
is
TV
he
guy. He's a film guy. He started as a assistant to one of the producers on the X-Men movies, the very first X-Men, and he just worked his way up.
so he okay? I got a Wikipedia him. I have no idea, but that's cool. I mean, that's no easy feat to wrangle all that stuff together. Especially, I'm sure there must be a million moving pieces. Every time I see those movies, aren't there like new writers and directors for each movie, right? It's not like a one consistent person.
It depends. No, I mean James Gunn is going to be directing all the Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah, they had different directors for Thor. They had different directors for
Like Wonder Woman,
no,
Black
well,
Panther,
Wonder Woman's a
etc.
different.
But I'm just saying, like comic book stuff. Are there different directors? My question to you is, are there different directors for
Well, like
each
like I said,
property?
well, it depends on how well they do with the property. I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy has become James Gunn's baby, so he's going to be directing the trilogy. Uh, the Russo brothers have become the go-to guys for everything. I mean, their first Marvel movie was Captain America: Winter Soldier, then on to Civil War, and then on to Avengers: Infinity. And then Joss Whedon did the first two Avengers movies. So yeah, they
Right.
give it to the directors, who have clear vision, able to get it done, and then
Who was the guy that made Fantastic Four? Is that
Roger
too?
Corman.
No, the guy that like consulted it, the new Fantastic Four, and like was like, "This movie's a piece of shit." The guy was on Twitter. He like made Fantastic Four, then like he was like, "The script was out of my hands." He like went on Twitter and like sabotaged it before it even came out. Forget.
Josh Trank. Oh, you're talking about the very new Fantastic Four. Yeah, I forgot about that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah, I didn't even see it. Yeah, that's the thing. So yeah, the
How come
other
that guy didn't blow
studios.
up?
That's why all the other studios had trouble with their superhero movies because they weren't able to get someone with a unified vision. And it turns out Kevin Feige was a huge comic book nerd. His dream was to present these movies as if it, each one were a comic book that you'd pick up at the comic book store, and then you'd wait for the double size uh, annual spread where they fight the one big bad guy.
Mm.
So yeah, it's pretty cool that he was able to do this.
I can definitely see the. I mean, my nephews and stuff, but like they're huge fans of it. And it's not like they were comic book guys, but because they see like my brother is a comic book guy, so they see their dad into it. I guess they got into it, and he buys all the toys, and it's just gonna trickle down to other generations. There's no
Well,
end
yeah,
to
I
it.
mean these characters have been around since 1940s, 50s, 60s. Yeah.
So, who's your favorite character? So, you saw. Wait. So you went opening day, right? Friday.
Uh, Friday morning. Yeah.
It was sold out. Assuming.
Pretty much.
Wow. In
Yeah.
Boston, correct? I was gonna go today, but I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna
No,
get a
you're not.
ticket
I even tried to see what showings are available today. There's nothing.
in Boston."
Uh,
Wow.
I mean, you would get like the front row seats, but yeah.
Hmm. Uh, Last question. So, do you think is there anything else that you'd like to see as opposed? I know you mentioned that TV show, Erie, Indiana, but if there's like a dream fantasy of any show, any character.
We need Urkel.
I'd want to see that. Family Matters.
No, that Family Matters. Urkel.
It's Urkel. That's what the movie's called. It's Urkel.
Urkel.
It's one name.
He had to fight the
Hmm.
Urkel bot.
Urkel. I don't know what that
Remember,
is.
he built a robot.
Yes,
It was
vaguely.
it was exactly like him. He had glasses, and suspenders.
It was like Vicky the Robot. Small
No,
Wonder.
he built like a metal robot. Ooh, and speaking of Small Wonder, yeah, that could be rebooted. Holy crap, that'd be a perfect reboot.
Mm. I don't know if that fly in today's generation. You keep a girl in a closet.
That works perfectly. No, because you haven't
That's
you
a
haven't seen
storyline.
Westworld, which is about realistic robots, and so to take that concept of robots with artificial intelligence and consciousness, but to place it in a sitcom setting, I mean, you could do a lot with that.
I'm trying to think. Are there any like are comedies like that even now today? Like it kind of blends like Third Rock from the Sun, Small Wonder, like this fantasy. I
Yeah,
feel like
good,
sitcoms today. Maybe I'm wrong.
the good place,
They're more
good places
grounded.
of fantasy.
Oh, a good play. That's right. You're totally right. And that's where they're. He has this um, illusory world, right? He creates himself.
No, no,
Is that
no.
what it is?
They go to hell.
Okay. Well, speaking of hell, I've got to go back to my day-to-day existence. But
That's a positive way to
thanks.
end.
No. Everything's good. Everything's
For
good.
anyone listening, please call Darwin to make sure he's okay.
No, everything's fine. Um, but yeah, please. Well, we have nothing to promote. Hey, if you like this podcast, subscribe or share it with your friends. We appreciate it, and we'll be back. If you have any topics you want us to cover, or if you want to be a guest on this podcast, email us. We'll include you. We should start including random
Yeah.
people. Although I do have a bunch of comedian friends which we can use, which we talked about, so we'll bring on new guests in the future.
Sounds good.
Maybe we'll get Julia White, and we can talk about Urkelbot.
Nice.
All right, cool. Well, thanks, Sean. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, good.
I'm. All right, bye.